you my favorite topic. And my topic today is peace. When I was a young girl in school, I would sing this hymn always. Make me a channel of your peace. Some of you who went to convent schools would know this hymn. Make me a channel of your peace is a prayer by St. Francis of Assisi. I'll sing for you the first 4 lines to just give you a perspective of what it really talks about. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where there's doubt, true faith in you. So I thought peace was something that could be got by just singing a hymn. But no, the quest for peace was long. So let me tell you a story. This is a story of rabbits that lived in Mumbai. Oh my God, I'm talking to you about rabbits. Be alert, okay? 2 rabbits, Mama Rabbit and Dada Rabbit. Mama Rabbit was very sweet, pretty, beautiful, petite, creative, but she had a go-getter mind. She knew exactly what she wanted from life. She had her goals set, everything planned according to what she wanted it to be. And there was Dada Rabbit, Daddy cool, flamboyant, full of style, and all he wanted to do was have fun, sing, dance, eat good food, a little wine sometimes. But Daddy Cool was living a good life. He had a heart which was very generous and compassionate, always reaching out to people when they were in need of help. And to this lovely couple was born a pretty, beautiful rabbit Eva. So can you imagine this rabbit Eva coming with the deadly combo of a powerful mind from the mother and a huge and compassionate, generous heart from the father rabbit. So Eva Rabbit had a good life. You might think, oh, story finished, happy ending, finished, over. Of course not. We now come to the other side. Mama Rabbit had another side too. She was peaceful and kind and lovely when everything went her way. But when it didn't, she was one angry, yelling, screaming, whining, complaining rabbit. She wanted things her way. If the pillows were not in order, oh, everybody would get a hearing. And sometimes it turned into aggressive behavior. And she would whack the little rabbits if they did not listen to her. What about Dada Rabbit? He too had another side. He was so loving and so full of love and so kind, naive, gullible, and that led him to make most mistakes, trust people he shouldn't have, got his heart broken, lost a lot of money too, sometimes even went bankrupt, and sometimes indulged in food and a little more wine. But this was the other side of Mama and Dada Rabbit. So we come back to Rabbit Eva. She has all of these qualities within her. But in her childhood, she was a fun-loving rabbit. You know what rabbits do? They hop around here and there. That's what she was doing, singing, dancing, hopping, talking to the sun, saying hi to the moon, posing for pictures when the lightning gods would send all those flashy, flashy little strikes to planet Earth. She was running after butterflies, and her favorite world was the fantasy world of fairy tales. So she was engrossed, and her head was into her books. And her favorite ornament were anklets. Anklets. That's what she loved, because she loved dancing. So in her dreamy world, she carried the dreamy world with her to school. What happens when you dream in school? You don't do your stuff. So she would come home with incomplete books, no homework done, lots of remarks in red. And Mama Rabbit would be ready with the cane. And the cane would find her bottoms to be whacked. This was not all. Sometimes there were days when she would rebel and not listen to Mama Rabbit. Those were the days when she was punished and put into the dark toilet. She would end up sitting in one corner, crying, feeling sad, and wondering what did she do wrong. She was just being herself. She just didn't feel like doing homework. But then, after a little while, she would get bored with just sitting and crying, so she would look out of the window, look at the night sky and the sparkling stars and say, wow, they look so pretty. And she was back again conversing with them, and then realized that the night sky was one of her best friends. So this was her life, vacillating between being in a dreamy space, a lovely space, and of being in a space where all her boundaries were violated. She was born with a peaceful cloak around her, which was rainbow colored. She loved colors. Wherever she went, she would look at trees, she would look at the plants, smell the roses, and all of these rainbows, the rainbow colored, made her very, very happy. But whenever she went into her sad zone, the cloak started turning brown. First it was brown, and then it became dark brown. And then it almost turned black. And I'll tell you when. That was one day when Uncle Rabbit came visiting her. On that particular day, Mama Rabbit told her, why don't you rest with Uncle Rabbit? You like him so much. But we don't have place in our rabbit hole, it's too small, we live in Mumbai. So please sleep today in the neighbor's house. So Rabbit Eva was very happy. She loved Uncle Rabbit, she loved talking to him. He told her some lovely stories. So she went to sleep with him. And she was so tired, she fell asleep instantly. In the middle of the night, she was woken up. She felt his paws in her private parts, and she was wondering what was going on. What's happening? What is he doing to me? She wanted to scream, but there was no sound coming from her throat. She wanted to push him away, but she felt her hands didn't exist. And at that point, all that she could do was pray. She prayed and she said, Lord, let it pass. I can't bear this. I don't know what's happening. And then she cried and she fell asleep. And it stopped. Next day in the morning, she ran to Mama and she said, Mama, I have something to tell you. But Mama was too busy. She had to go to work. There was no time. She said, okay, enough of your thing. And she was already angry and yelling about so many other things that poor little Rabbit Eva just kept quiet. And she hid this secret deep within her body, where even she didn't know that she had frozen that memory and hidden it there for years. Even she wouldn't know where she had hidden it. This happened for 7 days in a row. By then, her peaceful rainbow cloak had turned completely black. She had now moved from being the very happy and fun-loving rabbit to an introvert. All she did was sit in a corner and sit with her books. She wouldn't talk to people. Every time she looked up, she would sense fear. She was afraid of crowds. She was afraid of relatives. She was afraid of parties. She didn't want to go and meet anybody. So the only thing that she could immerse herself was in her studies, and that brought her accolades. She did very well in her studies. And that is how her life turned out to be. Academics, excellent. But then, life moves on. So she did what everybody else does, every rabbit does. After studies and graduation, fall in love. She fell in love. She got married. And by then, by the time she had her first baby, she was working very hard to make a living along with her husband and her family. She wanted the best for herself. A big house, a big car, holidays abroad, and lots of jewelry, and lots of wristwatches. She loved wristwatches. So, Rabbit Eva enjoyed and was living her life to the fullest until she got pregnant once again and her second baby came in. But this time, after the delivery, something didn't go right. She suffered from postpartum depression. What is that? Who even knows this term, postpartum depression? She went into a dark space where she couldn't breathe. She would have choking sensation. She felt paranoid. She thought someone would come and steal her baby. She felt that the whole world was out there to get her. She would wake up in the middle of the night with nightmares and sweat, and she would find her whole body wet. She didn't know what was happening, and she didn't know whom to tell. She never had real friends. Remember, she had gotten cloistered and all introvert. So at this point now, she realizes that she has to come back. There is something not right. If I am not feeling good about myself, there is something that is missing. So you remember, she was a go-getter. She always got to the bottom of the problem. Her curious mind led her to read and avidly search for healing modalities and find out what was going wrong. She understood about the mind. She read that the conscious mind only runs about 5% of our lives, and the subconscious mind runs almost 90% of our lives. She was aware of her conscious mind. She knew exactly what she wanted. But the subconscious mind, what was that? She didn't know. What would be the best way to know what's happening inside? So she went on this journey using this lovely tool called Expressive Art Therapy. What is Expressive Art Therapy? It is the use of imagery. It is the use of storytelling, dance, drama, dream work, music and movement, horticulture, the visual arts, poetry, to bring about a healing in the life of an individual in an integrated way, to bring about growth and development of the psyche. So I'm going to take you through some of the pictures that she drew while she was on her journey of healing. The first thing that she had to do was to quiet the mind. Her mind was racing. There were too many things happening. So she dabbled into sound. She used the Tibetan singing bowls to calm her mind. Her beta waves in the brain then would go into alpha and then into theta. And while we are in the theta state, we heal our DNA right to our core. She never knew where all this pain was coming from, but she was sure to put a finger to it. So this was one of the first pictures that she drew when she was just about leaving college. It was holiday time, and this was not part of the art therapy, but she loved to do art. So this was the first picture that came through her. That of a tree. But if you look at this tree, it's lifeless. There are no leaves. It does look strong and hefty, but no leaves, as if it's in the desert. This is one big artwork that she did on a bed sheet. So this is one more tree that she drew with next to her tree, which was her father tree. Okay? A few little leaves, but within her fence, because she kind of resonated with Mama Rabbit. She loved his cool behavior. Next. The next is Mama Rabbit. Here, a lot of leaves, but outside. Yeah. Next, please. So this is the whole picture. When she did her art therapy, she looked at this artwork and then she came to know what was going on in her subconscious mind. There she is. She's put a nice fence and big boulders and kept the ferocious rabbit at bay and kept the cool fellow inside. Next. She went for the art therapy workshop and worked with a fairy tale, The Sleeping Beauty. That was her favorite fairy tale. So you see the metaphor of the tree appeared once again, and this is the tree full of accolades. Well done, Evelet. You've got all the prizes in the world. You are awesome. Wow, great. Everything that could fill her life and her material needs. And yet in the artwork, there was a part of that tree that almost fell out like a coffin, holding that sleeping beauty, hoping somebody would awaken her. Who was this woman who was sleeping? That tree was when she woke up and when she became mother. If you see the pink, the sap that is flowing through the tree, going on to reach right to the branches, was when she started working on her own self-worth and her self-esteem. She filled herself with so much of self-love that now she had begun to heal all those little wounds. Those little three things are her little children who she wants to protect. Okay? And that one little fellow there, her unborn child, which she was too busy to even think about when there was a miscarriage. And during this workshop, she grieved. She grieved the death of her unborn baby. When I say grieve, not crying, but howling. Howling for the loss of her baby. And then there was that swing. You remember Rabbit Eva loved fun. So she was happy to draw the swing which would bring her back to her childlike behavior. And then began the arduous journey of wanting to see what really went wrong in her life. And what was it that she could make right? And at that point, she reached the space of unconditional love and forgiveness. It's a very heavy topic, unconditional love and forgiveness. But Rabbit Eva did it. Because she realized that if she would not work with it, all of that lost sadness, all of that disallowed joy, all that unmet rage, and all of that repressed grief, as Matthew Licata says, would have killed her, and she would be finished. This tree, Carl Jung's post, which says, "No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven without reaching its roots to hell." So she decided to walk down to hell and meet everyone there. Every information, every emotion that was not felt and that was buried, she decided to take that journey. Oh yes, and it wouldn't be fun. But with art, it just got a little easier. Rabbit Eva had undergone enough of abuse, and her body was affected. She was experiencing symptoms of PTSD. Do you know what that is? Post-traumatic stress disorder. Just like that, when war veterans return from wars, they experience these symptoms. Rabbit Eva had not gone for any war. She was not any veteran. But she was living in a home where there was war every day. And that is what her little body perceived. So her depression and her anxiety, her hyperexcitable state, her aggressive behavior, all of this came from the PTSD that she was experiencing. We have a word for it today in public health. It's called adverse childhood experiences. ACE. Just like this, but different. Adverse childhood experiences increase the incidence of a person having chronic illnesses and mental illnesses. So we take it very lightly. Oh, mujhe to thode thappad pade hain bachpan mein. No. If it has affected your psyche, then there is some work to be done there. So she worked with her heart, okay? She put lovely green liquid to pass through her coronary arteries so that she could feel nice and healthy. She worked with her kidneys and especially the adrenal glands, because when she was on that adrenaline rush, her whole body would be in that fight and flight response, always rushing, always pushing, full of excitement. And yet it almost pushed her to the brink. And that was her spine. So much in pain because of carrying baggage, not only from childhood, but also from generations. And because of her need to help others, she was also taking on so much more. That is how she healed her spine, with some artwork. Now the biggest one was the sexual abuse that she had to heal. So in the beginning, she connected to her womb, her uterus. And that is where she called it her womb temple, the most holy place, so that nobody could desecrate it. Some of the artwork that came in workshops that were done with women, where women held space and where poetry flew out of her mouth into the papers to heal her. One of the poetry that I would like to share with you, that Rabbit Eva wrote when she went to this workshop, where she created this beautiful flower mandala of the yoni. Come in without your slippers, your mind or your drama. I am the doorway to the divine temple that is within. Step into the threshold with reverence. Step into this portal of light, which is oozing the nectar of the heavens. Step in as I gently open these lotus petal doors for you to come in. Are you coming in? And this is how she healed. One artwork, one mandala at a time. So this was an artwork she did way back in 1987. So by now, would you know who Rabbit Eva is? Yes. Matching, beauty, lipstick? Yeah. So easy, lovely clues, aren't they? But in 87, when she drew that, she was a sad woman. There were tears streaming down her eyes, and she looked really sad. Pretty, but sad. And her journey from that, to being the woman that she is, of speaking her truth, of taking off all that shame and guilt that was hidden in her body, only through the method of art, through the method of dance and music, has brought her to this fullness of who she is. This is her. She has now become the tree, with her roots firmly grounded into Mother Earth, her branches out into Father Sky, and now she is birthing. She's pregnant with a lovely lotus bud. So there is a new metaphor that is rising. And from that lotus was emerging the goddess. And the black and white artwork now turned to color. Her peaceful rainbow cloak was coming back. The lotus became a common motif in her artwork. What is the lotus? It is nothing but a fragrant flower that blooms in the muck and finds its way up, not bothered about what's happening below, but just knowing that it is already full and perfect and complete and ready to shine her light. So you know when you are healed, when your inside and your outside match. So the artwork and her completely matching. That is when we become real, isn't it? And that is how she is. Oh, and she is this too. This So today what I do is I help other baby rabbits to pass through their trauma easily using beautiful art therapy and different forms. I navigate mothers through that arduous journey during their pregnancies to help them to come to peace within their bodies. It is not an easy journey, for sure. But what I want to tell you is, my prescriptions are very, very simple. And everyone loves them. It's a long bath for 30 minutes. Sheila ki Jawani for two times a day. Okay? And maybe Chikni Chameli too, 2 times a day. And if the symptoms don't reduce, then you have to dance on Govinda's song, Kisi Disco Mein Jaye. You have to do all of these moves. They're sure to get some pain out of you, for sure. With these beautiful prescriptions and these lovely modalities to heal all of this intergenerational trauma that lies within our bodies, hidden in ourselves, it is a journey to decide to be that one person, to break the silence or to break the cycle of violence within your family. Be that one. I became that one. So I want to end with these beautiful words from the Velveteen Rabbit. Yeah, I don't know it by heart. I'm going to read it out for you. What is real, said the rabbit one day. Does it mean that we must have things that burst inside us and stick out a handle? Real isn't how you are made, said the skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not to play with you, but really loves you, you become real. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow process. Generally, by the time you are real, you will have lost most of your hair, or maybe it's gone gray. Your joints will get shabby and wobbly, and your eyes will drop out. But these things don't matter at all. Because once you are real, you can't be ugly except to the ones who don't understand.